What's up? It's ADR back with ADR's Premier League review, and yes, I am alive. Man, I be working a lot, man. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, so sometimes it's hard for me to be on, but I really do love doing this, so I'm gonna continue doing it, but sometimes I may be a little inconsistent, but we're back, we're black, and we're better than ever. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the fixture list for this weekend. We got some fantastic games coming up, and some not so fantastic games where we should be a little bit smoother. I'm not going to talk so much about the previous weekend and some of the games that were played through the week. I'll make a separate video for that, kind of recapping all that stuff. I want to keep this weekend in my primary focus for this video. So let's get after it. We got the first game of the weekend, Newcastle versus Manchester City. Sad news, Rodri is listed as out for the season with a meniscus/ACL. Looks like, I don't know if it's a full tear or just partial tear, but regardless, it seems as though he'll be out for the season. Definitely not the greatest news. Did it playing against Arsenal on a corner kick. Those are the type of things that happen in footy. Unfortunately, he's played so many games. I think there was a list. He's like top 3 or top 5 players throughout the course of the world right now in most played games. So he probably should have had a break, but he's so vital to a lot of teams that it's almost impossible to give him a break. So that's unfortunate for him. If you see me just kind of lounging around here, that's me looking at the fixture list on my phone here. But biggest thing is I think that's huge for Manchester City. Along with that, Kevin De Bruyne will not be playing in their fixture against Newcastle. Newcastle have had a very strong start to the season. I'm hoping they can continue that and at least steal some points off of Manchester City. If I'm, looking at this bias as an Arsenal fan, I think this is our time to capitalize. Injuries do happen in footy, and we need to make sure that we are the next in line just in case City do have a drop-off. But they do have tremendous amounts of talent. They have Kovacic stepping in for Rodri in that position, in that 6, and then they also have Phil Foden, who's able to play in that attacking mid position for Kevin De Bruyne. They still have Erling Haaland, the best striker in the world, so they should still be able to do a number, but I do think that Newcastle may be able to pose a threat, but I do see Manchester City winning here 2-1. I think that they will be able to pull it off. It is at St. James's Park, so we will see how that goes. There have been some teams that have struggled there. We will see how that goes. Eddie Howe's good tactically. We'll see how he sets up, but I think that will be my prediction for that. Moving on to the next game, we have Arsenal versus Leicester. Arsenal, I think, should cruise through this, but Leicester have had a kind of a more difficult start for a team that has promoted to the Premier League, had some close calls, and got a tie off of Tottenham. So, that is kind of what happens when you do play Tottenham, and some instances, sometimes they just, aren't the greatest. So that kind of happens, right? So you got Leicester that was able to steal some points off of them. Let's see what they're able to do against Arsenal. I do think that this could be an easy victory for Arsenal. We are playing at home. We did have a stint of away games. Now we have a stint of home games. I believe 6 out of the next 7 are at home. So we should be able to make up some good numbers there, even though there are some tougher games that are coming up. I think that the scoreline will be good for Arsenal. I think Leicester will have their chances, but ultimately dependent on our back line and Raya being in the goal, I do think that I see this being a 3-1, 3-0, but if I'm locking in a score, I will say 3-0. I'll say 2-0 for Arsenal. I think that we will get 2 goals and kind of relax because we do have a Champions League game Tuesday this week, so we will want to make sure that we pull some guys off, maybe rest some guys. But I am happy that we do have Moreno coming back into the fold. He starts full contact. He started a little bit, but I think he starts full contact next week, and we will see how that goes. So we do have on to the next game. We have Brentford versus West Ham, and I will try and catch as many games as I can. Thankfully, I do pay for the cable here in the U.S., so I will be able to do split screen and multiple screens, some on my iPad, some on my phone, some on the TV. So we'll go ahead and see how many games we can watch. I don't have 6 eyes, so I won't be able to fully glue on all of them, but I will be able to catch as much as I can, catch the tactics that each team are doing, and see how they're going forward from there. That Brentford-West Ham game, I think that Brentford has been doing fairly well in their possession-based footy this year. I just don't see where the dynamic is full and wholeheartedly in the attack, and Mbeumo is a fantastic player. His finish the other day was ridiculous. Off the left side, volley, left foot, top corner. Can't get much better than that. I do think he'll get picked up by a better team later on in the year, next summer, I should say. But I do think that Brentford will hold a challenge for West Ham. They still haven't been able to find their footing under Lopetegui. I still think he's a good manager, but I don't think that he's doing the greatest job with the pool of players that he has. West Ham are too good in the positions that they have these excess players in to be in the position that they're in. So I do think that this could end up being a 1-1 draw. Yes, I'm calling it 1-1 draw. They're at Brentford. I think that will be a difficult game for West Ham, and considering their form isn't the greatest, I think that Brentford will be able to pull something out. On to the next game, we do have the Chelsea versus Brighton derby. Chelsea is notorious for taking a lot of Brighton players, their manager, all that good stuff, right? So we will go ahead and proceed to that game. Chelsea have been in fine form. Brighton have also been in very good form. And I do think that this will be a back and forth game. I think both teams play very good footy. I think Chelsea are starting to find their dynamics, find their starting 11, find their backup 11, find who their subs are going to be at certain instances. And all these things really do matter. When you know who's coming on in the 60th minute, 65th minute, 70th minute, that makes your life a lot easier. And that shows that Maresca has been doing a great job. I hope I pronounce his name correctly, but he's doing a great job of making sure he's working on the training ground with these guys on what they need to be doing. So that is a fantastic job from him. Another guy who has learned from Pep. Pep seems to be the mega mind through all of these people. Even with the shape of his head, he looks like mega mind. So, that is a great thing for Chelsea that they're starting to find their feet. I do think it's going to be a more difficult game, but I think that Chelsea will have some hiccups throughout the year, but I do think that they will end up pulling this out 2-1. I think that Chelsea will end up pulling, actually I see it being maybe a 3-1. We'll go 3-1 Chelsea. I think that Chelsea will be a bit too much for Brighton. So we'll go 3-1 Chelsea. We will move on to the Everton versus Crystal Palace game. Everton not looking the greatest. Dyche ball isn't being the greatest. We need everybody to go into a tackle hard. That's how Dyche talks to me. I don't know why. It seems like he just has somebody who chopped him in the neck, and he yells at his team and gets them tries to get them motivated. This season they haven't quite hit that yet, but we shall see. They've given away some leads. Crystal Palace aren't looking the greatest. They do have our old striker Eddie Nketiah, so maybe he'll score a hat trick. It's like, Crystal Palace fans, I'm sorry to tell you, he's probably not going to do much better. Got me scared right there. He's probably not going to do much better, if at all, better than Mateta. So I do think that he's a different dynamic, but I don't think he's going to produce as many goals as you guys may want, right? So I think that game may end up being a little bit boring. It is at Everton, so I can see it being a 1-0 Everton win. They do tend to get the results when needed. Dyche does end up getting some results for the teams that he's with. So I think this could be the time where they finally kind of click, per se, and get that 1-0 victory. Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. Fulham have played very well. This is at Nottingham, though, and Nottingham does have some threats on the wings. I think that they've actually surprised a lot of people, especially a couple weeks ago, or was it last week? It was something of that nature. It was either last week or the week before. I think it was the week before where they shocked Liverpool. Nobody really saw that coming. So they do have a threat. I think if they stay compact, stay with the tactics, stay in their shape, and then break on the counter and use their wingers to go ahead and make decisive, clear, and concise movements, that they will be able to get some goals against that Fulham defense. I don't think that Fulham defense is the greatest, but Fulham have a great attack in their own sense, more of a midfield that's able to play through the lines and find a particular passes for their guys. So I think that game could be entertaining. I see it being a 2-2. I'm going to call this one a 2-2 draw at Nottingham. I think there's going to be some goals in that game, but I think it's going to be fantastic. Wolves versus Liverpool. It seems as though Wolves are near the bottom, if not at the bottom of the table. So they are not doing the greatest, but they have lost some key players. So it is, it's a little bit tough for them right now. Their manager isn't, I want to say, Gary O'Neill, I want to say is their manager, but not looking the greatest. So we will see how that ends up playing out. I think Liverpool are going to go ahead and smash them, though. I think I could see this one being 4-0 for how Liverpool are playing. I was going to say 3-0, but I do think that Liverpool may sneak a fourth in there. And just how their attack is looking, I just don't see how they're not going to at least get 3. So let's just add another one on there for ish and giggles, right? So let's go ahead and put 4-0 to Liverpool. I think that game will be pretty smooth and easy for them. I think they'll be able to pull some players off around the 60th minute and prep for the Champions League. So we have Ipswich versus Aston Villa. I think that's a pretty straightforward game. No offense to Ipswich. I don't think that they're going to have enough for Aston Villa. Although this is the Premier League, these newer promoted teams are still trying to prove themselves, still figure the Premier League out, and it is at Ipswich. So we could see a performance from Ipswich. So you never, ever know. But I don't see it like that. I see a 3-1 win for Aston Villa. I say 3-1 because I think that Ipswich will get a goal because Aston Villa's defense tends to have lapses. I think that their playing style is very good, but I do think that they do leave some gaps on the counterattack, and sometimes they even leave gaps through their defensive midfielder through to their center back. So I think there may be some lines for Ipswich to play through, 3-4 passes to get in on goal against Martinez. So we'll see how that goes. And then the game of the weekend for the most of the Premier League, Manchester United versus Tottenham, even though both of them not doing the greatest in the league to start it off. Tottenham with a big victory during the week, even though they got a red card. But, I guess you could say it's a big victory. They were playing the Azerbaijan Premier League team. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth. But, no offense to Azerbaijan. We're just saying, on the level of footy, right? But Manchester United versus Spurs at United. So we will see at Old Trafford. Old Leaky. So we'll see how that goes. I think that this one could be a playable game for Spurs, not for United. I think that United are going to have to catch them on the break. I think they're going to actually have to have Bruno Fernandes pick his head out of his butt crack. This man signed the contract and said, here, let me give the ball away 34 times in a game, right? So that is not good. Hopefully Rashford is not trash for this day. Hopefully they have Garnacho. That's playing his position. Hopefully they are able to play a style of play, because every time I see United, it seems as though they have a shape but not a actual... It doesn't seem like they have good patterns of play. Although Spurs are the opposite, where they seem to me not to have the greatest shape, but they have good patterns of play. So this could be the battle of dumb versus dumber. I'm just playing. I'm just giving some banter. But this could be that battle of weird footy styles kind of clashing, and styles make fights. So I think that weirdly Manchester United is going to pick something up here. This isn't my Tottenham bias. I think that Manchester United have a weird way of showing up for these type of games, especially it being at home. If it was away, I would definitely give it to Tottenham. But I think that Manchester United will have some moments of brilliance from players, and I think that might be able to get them over the line. So I do see a 2-1 victory for Manchester United. We went through the whole fixture list. You guys let me know. Actually, I'm sorry. We have one more game, Southampton versus Bournemouth. I'm sorry for you Southampton and Bournemouth fans. I was not trying to forget you guys. That is actually on Monday, so I did not see it. But I think that game will be pretty straightforward for Bournemouth. I think that one will be not too straightforward, but I think it'll be a 2-0 victory. I think they'll get a goal in the first half and then maybe a later goal in the second half. So we shall see how that is. I will put up a review after the games tomorrow, a review after the games Sunday, reactions, and then I will try and get some more videos done. But I do thank you guys. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to win that Manchester United versus Tottenham. Let me know who's going to win the Newcastle versus Manchester City. Let me know what you think about the injuries throughout the Premier League season. And then just a quick question. Do you guys think that they are playing too many games? I personally think they are, especially with 3 international breaks before Christmas. I think that's a bit ridiculous. International footy is not paying their wages. But just let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. I've been ADR. I appreciate you guys staying with me. I know it's been back and forth. Sometimes I'm inconsistent, but that's what you're here for. You're here for the ride, the roller coaster, and we ready to go. Again, hit that like, share, subscribe button, comment down below. Helps with the algorithm. I appreciate you guys. Peace.